Hi, it's Mike Thornton here from Pro Tools Expert, and today I want to take a look at this new version of Defaulter. Now, Defaulter's been out for a little while, but previously the way Defaulter worked is it would scan a clip and work out what the peak level is and then adjust the clip gain so that each clip had this same peak level. But of course, in the new loudness workflows, effectively normalizing to peak level, which is what the old version of Defaulter did, is less relevant. So in the new loudness workflows, where we want to normalize to loudness, normalize to average volume, then this new feature of RMS sensing is much more useful. So you can choose to work to either to peak or to RMS. If you want to work to RMS, then just click the RMS button on, and then you can set the level for the maximum RMS. You can choose what you want to set that to, and then click on a region or a clip and press the Analyze button. Now you can see that the clip gain is being adjusted, and when it's happy, it's automatically moved on to the next clip. And again, I can hit Analyze, processes that one, and moves on to the next clip. Hit Analyze, and on we go. And so now what we can do is we get all these different takes, all with a similar RMS level to them, and the reality is that they will all come out with a similar loudness. So that gets me into the right ballpark, and in many respects the best time to use Defaulter is as I have it here. I've got an OMF session that I've brought into Pro Tools. I've done an initial tidy up, stripping out double tracks, bringing stuff down onto my effects tracks and my music tracks, and checkerboarded out my sync sound. But now, before I start doing any more work, this is an ideal time to use Defaulter to adjust the clip gain for each of the clips. And this is really, really useful, especially when you're dealing with content that has perhaps been self-shot and self-edited, where the audio levels are, shall we say, less than perfect. So to be able to go through and adjust the clip gains automatically to a preset RMS level is really, really useful. But it doesn't stop there, because with the new version of Defaulter, Quiet Art have also included a keyboard Maestro set of macros. So now I've got the keyboard Maestro enabled. Firstly, what I'm going to do is just to clear the clip gain. So we're going to right click down to clear clip gain. I'm going to select the first clip on the track, hit Analyze. So far so good. It's adjusting the clip gain to the appropriate RMS level, but notice now I'm not having to continually hit the Analyze button. It's going through and analyzing and adjusting the clip gain accordingly without me having to do anything. Now, it's fairly important at this point that you don't try and click on anything, because it'll upset the macros, because what's actually happening here is there are a series of macros at work. And now it's got to the end of the track. Part of the way that they've designed it is actually it checks that last clip 4 times before timing out. So if we have a look at Keyboard Maestro, you can see here that we've got the Defaulter run macro, and so it's doing a range of things. It's making sure Pro Tools is at the front, pausing, then finding the Analyze button, clicking, because the actual shortcut of selecting the next clip is, of course, built in to Defaulter. Another way that I can do it is, if we just clear the clip gain out of here, so right click, clip gain, clear. So if I now select that, but I also select the track underneath, so now I've got both my sync sound tracks selected. Now watch what happens when I start analyzing with defaulter. So it's adjusting the first clip and the second one. Nothing new there. Goes ahead and analyzes the third clip on track 1. Now notice it's gone to track 2 and is analyzing and processing those tracks. And now the next one, it'll go back to track 1. So I can highlight my entire sync sound tracks and just allow it to get on with it. But one of the key things that you need to make sure is that your tracks don't have any fades in them. So just double check that when you import the OMF that there are no fades. But other than that, with Keyboard Maestro and the macros that QuietArt supply, you're good to go. Now, there was one issue that I came across when I set this up. It would appear that the macros were written for Pro Tools 10. So it's just doing the final round the loop 4 checks of the last clip. So if I just bring up Keyboard Maestro again to the editor, what I found is when I loaded the original defaulter macros, which I've got here, the version of Pro Tools that it was attempting to activate was Pro Tools 10 and not Pro Tools 11. So I actually had to, so if I go in here, it's actually picked up my Pro Tools 10, not my Pro Tools 11. So actually what I had to do was to go through and repoint all the macros at Pro Tools 11. But it still didn't work properly. And that was because this disable other macros macro that QuietArt supply, which basically turns off a raft of the macros. You can see here that it's turning off a series of the macros that come as standard with Keyboard Maestro. But in the original one, the Pro Tools 10 one, for some reason, it's lost the connection to most of the keyboard macros that need to be turned off. What was happening is, especially in this switcher group, there was a macro that was using the same keyboard combinations as selecting next clip. And so what it was doing, it was trying to change the application, because it was the shortcut was actually change application. So it got its knickers well and truly in a twist until I had identified that the original disable other macros wasn't actually functioning, and I went through manually and disabled all the appropriate macros. But what I've done here is I've actually gone through and found all the appropriate macros and repointed the disable other macros so that it will disable the appropriate macros, and also made sure that it's going to run Pro Tools 11 rather than Pro Tools 10. But with that slight problem resolved, as you can see, it works through and very quickly analyzes and configures your clips. And again, that would be absolutely brilliant. Not only can we analyze and then manually go from one clip to the next, with the Keyboard Maestro macros, that can be all automated. But of course, there is the other really useful tool from QuietArt, which is Waverider. So here I've got Waverider enabled on this track. And so what I can now do is to put the automation into latch, which is what they recommend. So now if we go into volume, latch, and now play the audio.
Hi, my name's Aurora Fernley.
Waverider will now go in and do what effectively is a manual fader ride on the sync audio and give me a pretty good finished leveled project. And so with the combination of defaulter and Waverider, you can very quickly and easily get a well-leveled set of tracks, and then you can concentrate on working through and actually doing the mix. So I hope that's been helpful, and I'll see you again soon.